Good morning, welcome to Bitcoin Bounce. My name is Joseph and I'm here with Dion, and today we're going to review a video of Steve from Crypto Crew where he looks at the 1 week chart, the stochastics cross to the upside, and he's also looking at a 7-year earnings chart, and he saw something very interesting, how the stochastics on that earnings chart traded to the upside, and then we had a biggest run in crypto. And we see the same signal right now. So there is a possibility, looking at those charts, that we are going to have a tremendous uprun on the Bitcoin chart. Now, before we jump into the video, I would like for Dion to just show us what is he talking about the stochastics on the 1 week chart. Good morning, Dion.
Morning, Joseph. So this is the weekly Bitcoin chart. And this is the stochastic. So if we just zoom in a bit there, so you can see that the cross was here. So whenever the blue line crosses the orange line, that's when normally it's to the upside. And also we're below this 20, which normally is very, very low, and that's normally where we expect a currency or a chart to actually, it could range like it's been doing here, but out of that eventually you have to see a big move to the upside. Yeah, but this is the cross that he's talking about, the blue above the orange.
Yeah, so when you have a cross on a stochastics below that 20, then you have two factors there. The one is the coin is oversold tremendously. That means it has to do a correction to the upside. And then you have that stochastic cross that's in the first place a very good signal, especially on a 1 week chart. And so that's one of the most bullish signals that you can see on the charts right now. So we're going to jump in, we're going to listen to Steve, and he's going to show some really interesting things about this cross.
This chart is going to be blocked. Do you know what this chart is? We're going to unveil it at the end, but take a look at what's happening, right? We just had a complete downfall in price down to this pivotal level that happened to be critical market structure for this entire time period of 2015, holding critical resistance on this monthly chart here, and then critical support on this monthly chart here, and most recently in January of 2016 coming back to hold as support for the last time with a large buying wick, a lot of buying pressure coming in at this time, and that's what helped propel to a new all-time high, and then a most recent crash down in 2018, and then another new all-time high in September of 2021. What is most interesting about this chart is what's happening down here with the stochastic RSI, the momentum on the monthly chart. The last time that we had a monthly stochastic RSI cross was way back in 2018. Literally 4 years ago, almost to the day, is when we had the last cross, and 4 years later, now we're here again with a new cross. What you want to watch for with this chart is a confirmation of that cross above the 20 level, which we're getting very close, right? We're getting very close to that 20 level. That's when the confirmation will come into the market that the momentum is here and that it's time to really focus. Now, you're probably wondering, what is this chart, right? What is this chart that somehow started back here in 2012, right? Do you have any guesses? Put it in the comments down below. But this is a chart that you're not going to anticipate me covering. This chart may surprise you that I'm covering it, but I read the comments. I know what you guys want more of, and I'm delivering it right now. So with this, you look at the market structure, right? When something goes up so substantially, so significantly, in such a strong fashion, you're going to see these downfalls. And in 2018, the correction was just 44%. But for this particular chart, 44% was a lot, right? We hadn't had those 44% corrections, right? We had another 140 here. So this was 44, this was 40. And outside of that, there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about outside of back here in the early days when it fell initially 61% right after, I don't know how to word this without giving it away, but when it first came out, it dropped 61%, and that was on mainly some news and mainly earnings. And earnings are playing a key role here, and earnings may have just given a little clue as to what this chart is, because the earnings in the very beginning were the cause of the downfall, and the earnings now are the same cause of the downfall, except this time it wasn't 40%. It wasn't the 61% that it saw in the beginning days. This downfall is 77%. But what I'm most interested in is the stochastic RSI, because this could be a major clue. Shall we unveil it? Shall we unveil what this is right here? Which coin or which stock this is? Shall we unveil it now? Okay. What I want to describe is a little more information about this chart. Okay. So first I'll unveil it, and then I'll explain what's happened here, and then I'll explain what's happening here. I'll give you a little clue as to what this is. It's in this category. This is Netflix. We covered Netflix right here in this channel back in May, June-ish, when it was at about 179. So Netflix was at about 179. People were literally freaking out. There's blood in the streets. Every single article on planet Earth on Netflix at the time was saying that we were going to go substantially lower, that Netflix was done, that Netflix was no more, that it was going to go to zero. They were losing all of their subscribers that had come during the COVID crisis. Everybody signed up. They made a lot of money. They lost everybody, and they were on a complete spiral. And we came right here on this channel and we said, this is a pretty damn good time to buy. Why? Netflix has done something similar in not once, not twice, but this is the third time that it's dropped 77, 70, 80%, right? So we put a pretty heavy buy target at $180, $179. And for the reason that they're always ahead of the curve. Netflix is always ahead of the curve, and people are not going to stop enjoying movies. It's just, they're not going to stop. And Netflix has always led this entire industry. So nothing fundamentally changed about their product or service. They just had a lot of bad press with losing subscribers. But everybody had a peak in the COVID. After COVID, they printed so much money. Everybody was spending a lot more money. And it was obvious that Netflix was in a situation where it was a pretty good buying opportunity. So 179-ish, we put a buy signal on. And since then, it's up over 80%. So something similar is playing out here. And now we can unveil it. The moment you've been waiting for. You probably put your comment in the comment section guessing what this is. But this is, drumroll please, this is Meta. This is Meta. Now, I don't cover the stock market very often. Our most recent cover was on Netflix. And this is but I read the comments. You guys want some more stocks. So here's what's happening here. Basically, what's happened is in the beginning, when Meta came out, it was called Facebook stock at the time. When the Facebook stock came out, the plummet in prices was just people saying, hey, they don't know how to earn money yet, which was true. They were not focused on generating revenue. They were focused on users. And we were still early in the social media days where users now carry more weight than revenue. But in the beginning, investors were like, hey, there's no revenue here. So that's why this plummeted in price. Now we got into a new all-time high. And what's happened with this correction, with this downfall, with this plummet in prices of 77%, was essentially all of that money that they learned how to generate. They took a whole bunch of it and invested in their future. Nothing fundamentally changed about, I use WhatsApp. Nothing fundamentally changed about WhatsApp. In fact, it's at one of its highest usage rates ever. Nothing fundamentally changed about Instagram, another company that they own that's included in this stock. Nothing fundamentally changed about them either. In fact, it's the highest usage rate ever. Basically, the only thing that changed, which caused this downfall in price, was earnings. Shareholders are very interested in earnings and earnings that continue to grow so they can continue to salivate. The only thing that Meta did was they took a bunch of their earnings and invested it into the metaverse and into their VR headset at a pretty heavy clip, which is, in my opinion, is quite smart because Facebook, although I haven't used Facebook in years, I started using Facebook my sophomore year in college. That's when it came out, when it was just for university people. I didn't go to Harvard, so I didn't get in really early in Facebook, but they invited us my sophomore year and I joined. I used it for a while and I haven't used it in many, many years. I would guess not much has changed there, but I would also be honest that Facebook is kind of dying. Instagram is growing. WhatsApp is growing and they're looking for that next leg. So in my opinion, Mark Zuckerberg has proven time and time again that he's pretty buttoned up. You shouldn't really bet against him. And he took a whole bunch of their profits to invest in the future, which they believe to be the VR headset and the metaverse, which I would also agree is a pretty good bet at the future outside of Facebook. So when you have something like the stochastic RSI cross up for the first time in more than 4 years, we're looking for that to get above here to confirm a pretty nice buying opportunity. And what I will say to you is this, and the same applies to Bitcoin, the same applies to this chart here. You want to invest and you want to make your decisions on the chart. You want to make your buy or sell decision based on the chart, not based on the circumstance, not based on what's happening. Because when we talked about Netflix, we were knee deep in the middle of a bear market. The bear market was heating up and it was getting worse, and it was very, very clear. And the news that was out about Netflix said it was going to get substantially worse, like bloody, bloody, bloody worse. And we put a buy target on it because of the facts in the charts. You never want to go based on what everybody is saying is going to happen. Oh, the bear market's going to get worse, the pandemic, the whatever the case may be. You want to make a decision, a sound decision based on the chart. It's easy to get clouded judgment and clouded vision, but I would say something similar with Meta. It looks like a good opportunity is very, very close when we get that confirmation above here.
Thank you guys. That was an awesome video. I want to remind you, Dion did earlier today excellent video on Bitcoin analysis, and he also went through a few charts of different coins where there is buying potential right now. So I want to encourage you, just go back to that video and watch it. I think there's also information on there. We're going to be back on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Thanks guys, have a great weekend. See you on Monday. Cheers.